To a Space Marine, the bolt gun is far more than a weapon. It is an instrument of mankind's divinity, the bringer of death to his foes. Its howling blast is a prayer to the gods of battle. From the teachings of Robert Guilliman, as laid down in the Apocrypha of Scaros. The bolter, also known as a bolt gun, stands among the most formidable handheld ballistic weapons wielded by the military forces of the Imperium of Man. This powerful assault weapon fires explosive kinetic projectiles known as bolts, which devastate enemy infantry with fearsome efficiency. Synonymous with the Adeptus Astartes, the bolter is revered as the signature weapon of the Space Marines. While the Astartes are its primary users, the bolter is also deployed across various military organizations within the Imperium. Its explosive rounds are capable of tearing apart foes, and the very sound of its fire strikes terror into the hearts of enemies. The Chaos Space Marines of the Traitor Legions still carry the bolters issued to them before the Horus Heresy, typically using older variants compared to the advanced patterns wielded by today's loyalist Space Marines. A versatile mid-range weapon, the bolter bridges the gap between the more compact bolt pistol and the heavier, more cumbersome heavy bolter. Standard patterns of the bolter are easily handled by Space Marines, but due to their size and weight, smaller patterns are manufactured for the Adepta Sororitas. The bolter, in its many forms, has been the staple of Astartes armament since the dawn of the Imperium. However, in earlier times, the ancient Space Marine legions employed Volkite weapons, pre-imperial thermal ray armaments dating back to the Age of Strife. Compact yet incredibly lethal, these weapons far surpassed many others of their size. Sadly, the difficulty in manufacturing Volkite weapons, even for the most skilled Mechanicum forges, led to their decline. The demands of the Great Crusade soon outstripped the production capacity of these relic weapons, and their limited range and high maintenance needs made them unsuitable for large-scale warfare. By the onset of the Horus Heresy, in the early 31st millennium, Volkite weapons had largely been replaced by the more practical and adaptable bolter. The bolter's brutal efficiency lies in its ability to fire mass-reactive bolts, self-propelled rounds that explode upon penetrating their target. The sheer devastation of these rounds, combined with the thunderous roar of the weapon's fire, makes the bolter ideal for shock troops. Its psychological impact, as much as its physical destruction, is a weapon in itself, with flesh being violently torn apart amidst the relentless barrage. To the Space Marines, the bolter is more than a weapon. It is a sacred symbol of their role as the Emperor's chosen warriors and a testament to humanity's martial dominance. In the hands of an Astartes, a bolter becomes a divine instrument of wrath, delivering death with every burst, each shot a prayer to the gods of war. Bolters are not easily produced. They require the skill of master artisans and are forged only in limited quantities from the finest materials. Even the rounds they fire must be fabricated in specialized workshops, and the weapons require meticulous maintenance to function at peak performance. Every Space Marine tends to his bolter with reverence, performing regular rites of upkeep to ensure the machine's spirit of the weapon remains appeased. The bolter is a .75 caliber assault weapon, more massive than most standard-issue Imperial armaments like the Lasgun, though slightly shorter in length. Uniquely, the bolter lacks a stock, resembling more of a pistol or submachine gun in its grip. The bulk of Space Marine power armor makes shouldering a stock impractical, and the armor's advanced systems compensate for recoil, rendering a stock unnecessary. Some variants, however, feature an extended barrel and a Mark 40 targeter system to convert the weapon into a long-range sniping tool. Known as Stalker pattern bolters, these are often paired with Stalker silent shells for stealth operations. Though the bolter is widely used across the Imperium, the Mark 5B Godwin pattern, carried by the Adeptus Astartes, is the largest and most destructive version. By comparison, the smaller bolters wielded by the Adepta Sororitas or Astra Militarum champions are but pale shadows. The sheer size and recoil of the Godwin pattern make it impossible for an ordinary human to handle, let alone survive firing it. A blessed creation of the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Godwin pattern has served the Space Marines for millennia. Its design, rooted in ancient STC technology predating the Imperium, has proven enduring, Although many chapters of the Adeptus Astartes have developed their own variations, such as the Angelus bolter of the Blood Angels or the Fenris pattern of the Space Wolves, the Godwin pattern remains the most prevalent and revered weapon in service to the firstborn Space Marines. Cited in the Codex Astartes as the primary armament of a battle brother, it remains a central icon of the Astartes martial heritage. This variant includes a built-in ammunition counter, displaying the remaining rounds on an external readout, which also appears in the autosenses of the Astartes helmet. The Mark VB Godwin pattern uses a sinister dexter locking mechanism with a curved magazine holding 30 bolts, capable of firing up to 4 rounds in a single burst. Additional features include a biometric sensor embedded in the grip, which ensures only Space Marines can operate the weapon by recognizing their genetic signature. The Godwin pattern also integrates a targeting system that connects to the Marine's autosenses, enhancing accuracy in battle. When fired, the bolter emits a distinct roar caused by the ignition of its propellant, followed by the detonation of its bolt upon impact, making it a weapon both feared and revered by enemies and allies alike. Like all Space Marine weaponry, Astartes bolters are specifically engineered to accommodate the superhuman physique of their wielders. The sheer weight of a Godwin pattern bolter is such that most normal humans cannot wield it comfortably without the assistance of a supporting brace. Furthermore, the weapon's hand grips are too large for an unaugmented human to grasp effectively, and even if they manage to fire it, the resulting recoil would likely tear their arm from its socket. It is illegal throughout the Imperium for anyone outside the Adeptus Astartes to wield an Astartes pattern bolter. To enforce this, many bolters are genetically coded, ensuring only Space Marines can fire them. Any Imperial citizen found in possession of a bolter, or even just a single bolt round without authorization, faces severe punishment at the hands of the Adeptus Arbites. However, certain bolter patterns, such as the Godwin Daz or lock patterns, are designed for human use. These versions are occasionally favored by officers in the Imperial Guard or members of the Adeptus Arbites, who require greater stopping power than standard-issue weaponry provides. One of the bolter's key advantages over the Lasgun, the most ubiquitous weapon of the Imperium, is its superior stopping power. The kinetic energy and explosive payload of a bolt are vastly more destructive than the Lasgun's coherent light beam. Despite this, the bolter was never widely adopted by the Imperial Army due to its considerable mass and weight. Additionally, it is a temperamental weapon requiring constant maintenance to function reliably, while a lasgun only requires a brief daily cleaning and a prayer to the machine's spirit to keep functioning for tens of thousands of shots. A bolter demands far more meticulous care and attention. A veteran Astartes, with centuries of experience, can service his bolter in less time than it would take a newly recruited guardsman to clean his lasgun, often performing the task blindfolded. Such intimate familiarity with the weapon is beyond the reach of ordinary human soldiers, necessitating the simpler design of the lasgun for widespread use. Another drawback of the bolter is the size and weight of its ammunition, which is much bulkier and harder to transport compared to the lightweight, easily rechargeable power packs of a lasgun. While this is rarely a concern for the Astartes, who rely on rapid, overwhelming assaults, it can pose a significant risk for Imperial Guardsmen using the weapon during extended operations where resupply is difficult. Bolters can be customized for various roles. Many modifications are sanctioned by the Adeptus Astartes and the sacred texts of the machine god, while others are handcrafted by individual battle brothers and remain specific to certain chapters. Scopes are a common addition despite power armor's built-in optical enhancements. These scopes can be calibrated to specific environments, tailored to detect different visual spectra or highlight the heat signatures of enemies, giving the Space Marine an edge in locating his target. Drum-shaped magazines are another common modification, allowing a bolter to hold more rounds than the standard sickle-shaped clip. This increases a battle brother's ability to maintain sustained fire, reducing the frequency of reloads in the heat of battle. Regardless of the modifications or patterns used, the bolter remains an ancient and lethal instrument of war, capable of delivering death with unparalleled efficiency. Even when its ammunition is depleted, the bolter's heavy casing can be used as a formidable melee weapon, easily capable of cracking skulls or breaking bones. Bolter ammunition, commonly referred to as a bolt, is primarily a .75 caliber rocket-propelled round. Unlike traditional firearms that rely on a propellant charge to expel a bullet from the barrel, a bolt is self-propelled, containing its own solid fuel propellant and functioning like a miniature rocket. The propellant is carefully designed to control the bolt's trajectory and speed. However, this rocket propulsion would ordinarily warp the weapon's barrel due to gas pressure buildup. To counter this, the bolter employs an ingenious two-stage firing system. In addition to the rocket propellant, the bolter uses a small conventional charge to expel the bolt from the barrel with significant muzzle velocity. This charge simultaneously ignites the bolt's rocket propellant, ensuring the bolt accelerates immediately after leaving the barrel, preventing pressure buildup and barrel warping. As the bolt travels under its own power, it rapidly gains speed before striking its target with lethal force. By the late 41st millennium, the .75 caliber bolt has become the standard round used by bolters. However, during the early days of the Great Crusade in the late 30th millennium, bolters utilized variable caliber ammunition. The ancient Tigris pattern bolter, for instance, fired 60 caliber rounds, while the Phobos pattern bolter used 70 caliber bolts. Even older weapons, like the Ikanos pattern bolt pistol, employed 50 caliber ammunition. Standard bolter rounds are equipped with mass-reactive fuses, designed to penetrate a target's armor or flesh before detonating internally. This maximizes the damage inflicted on the target, offering little chance of survival once hit by a bolt. The devastation wrought by bolter fire, combined with its adaptability and revered status among the Adeptus Astartes, makes the weapon a fearsome symbol of the Emperor's wrath on the battlefield. The bolter, a highly complex weapon, requires specialized production and rigorous maintenance, making it impractical for widespread use within the Astra Militarum. Its weight alone renders it unmanageable for the average human soldier, particularly the Imperial Guardsman, without additional support. Moreover, the bolter's susceptibility to dirt and improper handling makes it far less forgiving than the Lasgun, the standard-issue firearm of the Imperial Guard, which is designed for ease of use and minimal maintenance. The logistical demands of supplying physical ammunition for bolters versus the rechargeable power packs used by lasguns further complicate their deployment on a large scale. Space Marine chapters, with their rapid assault tactics, can deplete vast stockpiles of bolter rounds during a single campaign. The weapon's inherent complexity and need for dedicated care make it unsuitable for the line infantry of the Imperial Guard, who require simple, reliable arms. Space Marines, however, are uniquely suited to wielding bolters. Clad in massive suits of power armor that enhance their genetically engineered strength, Astartes can manage the weapon's powerful recoil with ease. Their armor's autosense systems and integrated targeting software further augment their combat efficiency, making the bolter the perfect primary weapon for these superhuman warriors. Since the dawn of the Great Crusade in the late 30th millennium, the bolter has remained a staple of the Space Marine arsenal. While many variant patterns have been developed over the millennia, most changes have been incremental, refining the bolter's design rather than revolutionizing it. The standard-issue bolter for firstborn Space Marines remains the .75 caliber Astartes Mark V B Godwin pattern. There are many notable bolter variants amongst the forces of Imperium. Angelus pattern bolter. This wrist-mounted drum-fed variant is used by the Blood Angels Sanguinary Guard and their successors. Firing razor filament-filled bloodshard shells, it is highly effective against armor. Baal pattern bolter, another variant favored by the Blood Angels and their successor chapters, named after their homeworld of Baal. Series pattern bolt carbine, a lighter, simpler version of the bolter recovered from a space hulk and pressed into production during the Angevin Crusade. It is easier to wield and maintain, though lacks the multi-round burst capability of its larger counterparts. Condemner pattern, used primarily by the Ordo Hereticus and Adeptus Sororitas. This combi weapon features a single-shot crossbow armature alongside the bolter. It fires silver stakes inscribed with psychic-disrupting sigils, particularly effective against psykers. Crusade pattern bolter, the original bolter used by the Space Marine legions during the Great Crusade in the 31st millennium, Footfall pattern, a crude, unreliable imitation produced in the Coronis Expanse, often sold by unscrupulous arms dealers. These counterfeit bolters are prone to misfires but are still lethal to those who cannot acquire the genuine article. Gilded bolter, a master-crafted bolter of unparalleled beauty and craftsmanship, often wielded by Space Marine captains or gifted to high-ranking Imperial officials. It is famed for being used by notable Ultramarines during their service in the Death Watch. Godwin Mark IIIA, an older bolter pattern still in use by the Dark Angels chapter. Godwin Mark V-B, the most widely used Astartes bolter in the Imperium, serving as the standard pattern for most Space Marine chapters. Godwin Ultima pattern, similar to the Mark V-B, this bolter was used by the Minotaurs and Exorcists chapters during the Badab War. Godwin Deaz pattern, the standard bolter pattern for the Adeptus Sororitas since the 36th millennium, designed for human use and often equipped with a sarissa, a bayonet-like blade for close combat. Hesh pattern, created by Magos Cimbri Jamis of the Adeptus Mechanicus as a reward for the Death Watch's service, this more compact bolter is ideal for fighting in confined spaces. It features a folding stock, motion detector and pre-sense sensors that link with the user's autosenses. Astartes who complete their service in the Death Watch are allowed to keep their Hesh pattern bolters. Heresy pattern, bolters created during the Horus Heresy, cobbled together from various parts by Astartes, cut off from regular supply chains. These weapons have become heirlooms among Chaos cultists, passed down through generations and conferring great prestige. Hurricane pattern, consisting of 3 twin-linked bolters, this system was first used by the Black Templars. It delivers a devastating barrage of firepower. Kai Gun, an enormous two-handed weapon similar to a bolter, developed after the Forge World of Kai was lost to the warp. This weapon is a psychic catalyst, channeling the wielder's malice into bolts of tangible energy. It is wielded by Chaos Lords and Demon Princes. Lock pattern, a variant used by the Adeptus Arbites and popular in the Coronis Expanse, designed for use by humans. Mark III pattern, produced during the Badab War by the manufacturers of Badab Primaris, used by the Astral Claws chapter. Mark IV Ultra pattern, utilized by the Red Scorpions. Chapter. This variant includes a 25-round magazine, integrated ammunition counter, autosenses targeting uplink, and biometric hand grip sensor. Mark IV pattern, an older Astartes bolter variant with a 20-round magazine, capable of both single-shot and 3-bolt burst fire. It also features a biometric sensor for genetic identification. Mark II Call pattern bolt rifle, created by Archmagos Dominus Belisarius Call for the Primaris Space Marines. This updated version of the bolter fires self-propelled missiles with greater range and penetrating power. Mars pattern. Mark II Scourge, a favorite among the battle sisters of the Order of the Ebon Chalice. The Scourge pattern features a serrated bayonet for close-quarters combat. It is also popular with missionaries in the Coronis Expanse. Nocturne Ultima pattern, a modification of the Godwin Ultima pattern, developed by the Salamanders, chapter for use during the Badab War. Little is known about the Nostra pattern, its origins shrouded in the mysterious forges of the Adeptus Mechanicus. This ancient bolter pattern is rarely seen outside the most esoteric collections, and it is rumoured to be one of the oldest bolter variants in existence. The Perinatus pattern Solo Mark II bolter is considered heretical by some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus due to its simplicity. Unlike most bolters, it lacks the capability for automatic fire, only discharging a single bolt with each pull of the trigger. However, this limitation is compensated by the weapon's greater range, improved accuracy, and enhanced reliability in harsh environments. Sized for human use, it is popular among certain planetary defense force garrisons and even rebel factions within the Imperium. The Phobos pattern bolter is one of the most venerable designs used by the Adeptus Astartes, crafted by the fabricators of Mars during the Great Crusade. It fires heavy .70 caliber shells which inflict devastating damage. Despite the development of newer patterns, many units retained the Phobos pattern for its sheer power. This bolter uses 30-round sickle magazines and can be fitted with the Mark V 7 chain-blade attachment. Relic bolt guns are extraordinarily rare and ancient, with only a handful remaining in the Calixis sector. These bulky weapons were likely wielded by the Emperor's warriors during the early days of the Imperium. bearing the eagle's claw and thunderbolt symbols of that era. They are considered holy relics, imbued with a fragment of the Emperor's wrath. The Star Phantoms chapter made use of Reza Ultima pattern bolters during the Badab War. This pattern is a modification of the standard Godwin Ultima pattern bolter and originated from the renowned Forge world of Reza. The Scapulan bolter is a unique and enigmatic weapon, shrouded in secrecy by the Death Watch of the Jericho Reach. Tech Marines speculate that it houses over 100 machine spirits within its casing, granting it unrivaled power and accuracy. This bolter integrates a fire selector, a targeter, and a melee attachment comparable to a mastercrafted combat knife. It is believed that no other scapulan bolters exist. The Stalker pattern is a modified Godwin Mark VB pattern bolter, equipped with an M40 targeter system and an elongated barrel, allowing it to function as a sniper rifle. This weapon is highly valued for its versatility in long-range engagements. Sternguard veterans of the First Company wield specially modified bolters with enhanced scopes, shoulder sling straps, and specialized magazines that allow them to switch between different types of ammunition as needed. While these modifications reduce standard ammunition capacity, they provide unparalleled flexibility on the battlefield. Discovered on the Forge world of Tigris during the latter days of the Great Crusade, the Tigris pattern bolter is revered as a relic of mankind's lost glory. The design was rapidly disseminated throughout the Imperium before the Horus Heresy. This pattern fires non-standard .60 caliber bolts and uses 25-round box magazines. It can also be equipped with a mono-serrated bayonet for close combat. One of the earliest Astartes bolter designs, the Umbra pattern, was mass-produced during the Great Crusade and saw widespread use among the Space Marine legions. Several chapters, such as the Mantis Warriors, Executioners, and Carcharodons, continued using this pattern during the Badab War. It remains a reliable and respected weapon to this day. The Umbra Ferox is a variant of the Umbra pattern bolter, produced en masse during the Horus Heresy by the Tech Marines of the Space Marine legions. This version is equipped with a larger box magazine and target reciprocator systems, which improve range and allow better integration with an Astartes autosenses for enhanced targeting. Each of these bolter variants holds a unique place within the history of the Imperium, reflecting the technological advancements, cultural practices, and martial traditions of their respective chapters. Whether in the hands of a loyal Astartes or a revered relic of the distant past, the bolter remains a symbol of the Imperium's might and the Emperor's unrelenting wrath. Bullets or lass bolts, it doesn't really matter at a practical level. Both kill well enough in the right hands, but for me, the bullet is more than a mere munition. It is an ancient thing. It is an echo of every bullet ever fired, every death dealt out by the hand of man since the beginning. You hear a bullet thunder. You are hearing the sound of humanity's bloody history made real. The Remembrancer Eldin Takli, the viscera of war. The most common bolter cartridge is the .75 caliber explosive-tipped mass-reactive bolt. However, Space Marines use a variety of other ammunition, each tailored for specific needs. The standard bolt is the standard-issue anti-personnel ammunition for the bolter. It is designed to penetrate a target and detonate, causing horrific injuries. Kraken penetrator rounds are potent, more power armor-piercing rounds than the standard bolt. The deuterium core is replaced by a solid adamantium core and uses a heavier main charge. Upon impact, the outer casing peels away and the high-velocity adamantium needle accelerates into the victim, where the larger detonator propels shards of super-hardened metal further into the wound. These are effective against heavily armored infantry. Inferno bolts are designed to immolate their targets and destroy them with superheated chemical fire. The deuterium core is replaced with an oxyphosphorus gel known as promethium. However, due to the decreased projectile mass, armor-piercing capabilities are compromised. It should be noted that the Thousand Sons Traitor Legion has their own similarly named but unrelated type of Inferno bolts, which are actually psychically bound slugs that release arcane energies. These slugs explode with sorcerous warp energies upon impact. Hellfire bolts were developed in response to the escalating threat of Tyranid invasions across the galaxy. Each bolt is equipped with a vial of mutagenic acid and tipped with thousands of needles. Upon entering a target's body, the vial shatters, and the needles inject the acid directly into the victim's flesh. This potent combination dissolves carapace and chitin with terrifying efficiency. Due to their overwhelming success against the Tyranids, Hellfire bolts have been adapted for use against a wide range of foes, proving equally lethal against other Xeno species. In Metal Storm frag bolts, the standard mass-reactive fuse is replaced with a proximity fuse, and the bolt's deuterium core and diamantine tip are swapped for enhanced high explosives and a fragmentation casing. This allows the bolt to explode in mid-air near enemy forces, scattering lethal shrapnel. Although highly effective against lightly armoured targets, Metal Storm frag bolts are less useful against heavily armoured enemies, such as Chaos Space Marines. Designed for covert operations, Stalker silenced shells have a reduced sound signature and are often paired with an M40 targeter system, an extended barrel, and a stock to create a sniper system. These bolts use a gas cartridge instead of a traditional propellant, resulting in silent but slower projectiles. A solidified mercury slug replaces the mass-reactive warhead, ensuring lethality even at subsonic speeds. These rounds are favoured when stealth and precision are paramount, and are commonly employed by Deathwatch kill teams. They are rumoured to incorporate advanced, unknown technology that prevents Necrons from phasing out and returning to their tomb complexes, ensuring their destruction. Developed in secret by the Alpha Legion before the Horus Heresy, Banestrike shells were designed to pierce the ceramite power armour of Space Marines. First deployed during the drop site massacre on Istvan V in the year 6 of the 31st millennium, these shells had dense explosive cores but reduced range and caused rapid wear on the firing weapon. Despite their limitations, they were devastating against the Loyalist legions. Due to their complex manufacturing process, only the Alpha Legion and the Sons of Horus were able to field Banestrike shells in significant numbers, primarily used by Legion Seeker squads and Reaver attack squads. Bloodshard shells are specialized, razor filament-filled rounds designed for use in the Angelus pattern bolter, wielded by the sanguinary guard of the Blood Angels and their successor chapters. Upon impact, the filaments shred through most forms of armor, making these shells highly effective against heavily armored enemies. Dragonfire bolts are hollow-shelled munitions issued to Stern Guard veterans. Upon detonation, they release a burst of superheated gas, negating the protective value of cover and ensuring full damage to targets, even if they are partially shielded. Exclusively used by the Space Wolves, Hellfrost bolts carry a payload of Hellfrost warheads. These rounds explode within their targets, releasing a freezing blast that is as lethal as the explosive force itself. Few enemies can survive both the devastating explosion and the frigid payload of Glimmerfrost crystals. Kraken bolts feature enhanced adamantium cores and improved propellants, making them superior in both range and armor-piercing capabilities. They were first utilized by Seeker squads during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, and are now primarily used by Stern Guard veterans. However, their high manufacturing cost limits their distribution. Psy-cannon bolts are specially designed rounds employed by the Inquisition's Ordo Malleus and the Grey Knights chapter. Each bolt is inscribed with arcane runes at a microscopic level, enabling them to disrupt psychic energy. According to some sources, these bolts contain a rare anti-psychic energy derived from the metabolic byproducts of the Emperor's Golden Throne. They are not only devastating against demonic and psychic targets, but are also highly effective at piercing energy shields such as the Tau Shield Generator and the Imperium's own Iron Halo. During the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy, Scorpius bolts were handcrafted by the Tech Marines of the Space Marine Legions. These bolts contained a two-stage warhead with a micro-guidance system and a needle-like sabot dart capable of vaporizing on impact, offering enhanced armor-piercing capabilities. Though rare and temperamental, Scorpius bolts were deadly against heavily armored targets. Seeker bolts are unique rounds crafted by Chaplain Boreas of the Dark Angels chapter. Each bolt contains a miniaturized cogitator that tracks the infrared heat signature of a target, guiding the bolt unerringly toward its mark. Tempest bolts replace the standard armor-piercing core of a bolt with a fragmentation shell, housing a proximity-triggered micro-explosive charge. This causes the bolt to explode near the target, showering it with deadly shrapnel. Although these bolts have a shorter range than standard rounds, they are highly effective against machines and other electronic-based targets, such as combat robots and cyborgs. Vengeance rounds are designed to breach heavy armor. Each round contains an unstable flux core that makes them dangerous to use but extraordinarily effective at penetrating even the ceramite plating of power armor. Originally developed to target Chaos Space Marines, these rounds are capable of punching through the toughest armor. Used exclusively in the Mark III Shrike pattern bolt sniper rifle by Eliminator squads, hyperfrag rounds detonate in a hail of shrapnel, devastating infantry formations with their spread of lacerating shards. Also used in the Mark III Shrike pattern bolt sniper rifle, executioner rounds are self-guiding projectiles equipped with a mini cogitator, allowing them to track their targets, even changing direction mid-flight with precise bursts of propellant. Mortis bolts, another type used in the Mark III Shrike pattern bolt sniper rifle, release self-replicating mutagenic toxins into their target's body, rapidly collapsing vital systems and causing a gruesome, agonizing death. These bolts are particularly feared for the horrifying spectacle they create upon impact. Each of these specialized rounds demonstrates the deadly versatility of the bolter, turning it into a weapon capable of dealing with a wide array of enemies, from heavily armored Chaos Space Marines to elusive Necrons and demonic entities. Although the bolter remains the iconic weapon of the Adeptus Astartes, particularly favored by Space Marine tactical squads, it is far from the only bolt-based firearm in their vast arsenal. Numerous variants exist, each adapted for specific purposes. One of the most common is the bolt pistol, a compact version of the bolter. In addition to its use by the Space Marines, this weapon is issued to officers and seasoned veterans of the Imperial Guard. Commissars in particular are frequently armed with bolt pistols which they use both in battle and for executing those deemed too cowardly to properly serve the Emperor. A grim duty that has earned the bolt pistol the nickname Bravery Bolter. The standard magazine of a bolt pistol varies between 6 and 12 rounds depending on the manufacturing quality. Bolt pistols are a common sight among the assault squads of the Space Marines, the Sisters of Battle, and the Heretic Astartes. Many warriors prefer to wield a bolt pistol in one hand and a melee weapon such as a chainsword in the other, allowing them to seamlessly transition from ranged to close-quarters combat. For longer engagements, a drum magazine can be used to increase ammo capacity, offering the same high-volume firing as seen in storm bolters. A variant of the bolt pistol is the heavy bolt pistol, distinguished by its larger size and extended barrel, which improves its range and accuracy. This weapon is often carried by Reaver squads of the Primaris Space Marines. Similar to the storm bolter, the twin-linked bolter, also known as the Combi bolter, consists of two standard bolters linked together to fire simultaneously. Although somewhat bulky and rudimentary in design, it proved highly effective during the Horus Heresy. And though less common in the current era, Chaos Space Marine attack bikes still frequently employ Combi bolters. In the Imperial arsenal, the Storm bolter has largely replaced the Combi bolter as the standard twin-barrel bolter. Additionally, bolters can be combined with other weapons to create Combi weapons, which pair a bolter with a plasma gun, melter gun, flamer, or grav gun. These hybrid weapons were first developed during the Horus Heresy to enhance the tactical flexibility of Terminator squads, and are still in use today, most notably by Sternguard veterans and their Chaos counterparts. The Storm bolter is a double-barreled variant of the bolter, designed for relentless assault, consuming more ammunition than a standard bolter. It is typically issued to Space Marines clad in Terminator armor, and is often mounted on Imperial tanks as a pintle weapon. It is also utilized by the Grey Knights, often as a gauntlet-mounted weapon that draws ammunition from an integrated feed. Outside of the Adeptus Astartes, Imperial Guard veterans and officers rarely wield storm bolters, though the Sisters of Battle sometimes assign the weapon to specific squad members. Given its high ammunition consumption and the cumbersome nature of Terminator armor, most storm bolters are fed by large box magazines holding between 60 and 150 bolts depending on the magazine's size. When wielded outside of Terminator armor, the weapon typically uses a smaller 60-round magazine, giving the wielder about 30 shots before needing to reload, as each trigger pull fires both barrels simultaneously. The ammunition used in storm bolters is identical to that of bolt pistols and bolters. Before the storm bolter's creation by the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus, in the aftermath of the Horus heresy, Terminators were often equipped with special combi weapons consisting of two fused bolters. These combi bolters offered a higher rate of fire at close range, though they lacked the accuracy of the storm bolter over longer distances. After its introduction, the storm bolter gradually replaced the combi bolter across Imperial forces, though the heretic Astartes continued to use the original twin-linked bolters. The heavy bolter is another formidable weapon in the bolt family, designed to provide fire support. It uses a much larger caliber round than standard bolters and is widely deployed across nearly all Imperial forces, save for the most poorly equipped. Its high rate of fire, long range, and relatively low manufacturing cost make it a staple for Imperial tanks, vehicles, and fortifications. Heavy bolters differ from other bolt weapons in their operation. Instead of relying on a mechanical firing pin, the heavy bolter uses an electronic pulse to ignite the bolt's propellant. An electric motor feeds rounds into the firing chamber, ensuring a continuous cycle of fire, while exhaust gases are harnessed to power the weapon's internal mechanisms. Due to its size and weight, the Astra Militarum typically fields the heavy bolter as a crew-served weapon, requiring 2 soldiers to operate. Space Marines, with their enhanced strength and power armor, are capable of wielding the heavy bolter solo, often firing from a standing position. Even Space Marine scouts, who lack full power armor, can manage the weapon with minimal support. Similarly, the Sisters of Battle are able to operate heavy bolters thanks to the strength augmentation provided by their power armor. In this configuration, the weapon is typically hip-fired, with ammunition fed from a backpack-mounted belt, while targeting is handled via a heads-up display, HUD, and an integrated laser pointer mounted above the barrel. The heavy bolter is colloquially known as the backbreaker or bruiser in the underhive gangs of various hive cities, where its use is feared and infamous. Centuries of experimentation by Archmagos Belisarius Cawl led to the development of the assault bolter, a handheld version of the heavy bolter designed for close-range devastation. Fitted with a large box magazine and a high-speed autoloader, the assault bolter boasts an exceptional rate of fire. The recoil is contained by a mag shield, making it manageable in the heat of battle. These weapons are primarily employed by Primaris Space Marine Inceptor squads. The Avenger Megabolter is a fearsome, rapid-fire weapon commonly used by the Dark Angel's elite second company, the Raven Wing, as well as their successor chapters, though it is also mounted on Avenger strike aircraft and Space Marine Fire Raptors. The Avenger Megabolter is essentially a smaller version of the Vulcan Megabolter, featuring a single set of rotating barrels rather than 2. Mounted on the nose of Nephilim jet fighters and other aircraft, the Avenger Megabolter is the perfect weapon for fast attack flyers, equally effective in aerial dogfights and strafing ground targets, obliterating infantry and vehicle formations alike. From the compact bolt pistol to the devastating Avenger Megabolter, the myriad bolt weapons available to the Adeptus Astartes and Imperial forces offer unparalleled versatility and destructive power, cementing the bolter's status as a symbol of Imperial might. The Vulcan Megabolter is an immense rotary weapon, pneumatically driven, air-cooled, and electrically fired. Equipped with 5 barrels, it fires heavy bolter ammunition at an extraordinary rate, making it one of the most devastating anti-infantry weapons available to the Imperium of Man. Commonly mounted on Imperial Titans and super-heavy armored vehicles, the Vulcan Megabolter's dual, rotating heavy-caliber bolters can effortlessly tear through infantry, light vehicles, and even small structures. With shells larger than human skulls and a firing rate that expels 2 rounds at a time, it leaves a charred trail of destruction in its wake, its shots vaporizing heretics and Xenos alike. The Mark II call pattern bolt rifle is the standard firearm of the newly created Primaris Space Marines. Re-engineered by Archmagos Dominus Belisarius Call, this weapon is a perfected evolution of the Adeptus Astartes archetypal bolter. It retains the bolter family's defining trait of firing self-propelled explosive missiles, or bolts, but boasts greater range and improved armor penetration compared to the firstborn standard bolters. The Call pattern bolt rifle was designed to be modular, allowing for numerous tactical variants. One such variant is the auto-bolt rifle, which sacrifices range for a higher rate of fire by employing a high-capacity, drum-shaped magazine. It can be wielded by individual Primaris Marines or integrated into vehicles, such as the Invader ATV, in a twin-linked configuration. The heavy auto-bolt rifle further extends the range of the auto-bolt rifle, making it more versatile on the battlefield. Another advanced variant, the Stalker bolt rifle, features an elongated barrel and a sophisticated M40 targeter system, enabling it to function as a sniper rifle. This precision weapon is favored by Primaris Marines for long-range engagements. The heavy Stalker bolt rifle takes this even further with an extended barrel for superior range. The bolt carbine is a compact version of the standard bolt rifle, equipped with a shortened barrel for close-quarters combat. Used primarily by Reaver squads, it allows for swift, agile movement in skirmishes. A variant known as the Marksman bolt carbine is outfitted with adjustable sights for enhanced accuracy, making it ideal for long-range precision strikes by Primaris infiltrators. Meanwhile, the Oculus bolt carbine, used by Vanguard lieutenants and incursors, is equipped with the advanced Oculus sight array. When paired with a Divinator-class Auspex, this sight system feeds tactical data into the user's combat visor at speeds far beyond human comprehension. This advanced technology allows incursors to see through walls, smoke, and darkness, as well as detect teleportation signatures, incoming drop troops, and subterranean threats. The Mark III Shrike pattern bolt sniper rifle is the primary weapon of Vanguard Marine Eliminator squads. Its adaptable optical sights allow for a range of targeting modes, from thermoscopic vision to precision Auspex scans that can penetrate solid structures. When a target is marked, there is no escape, as no armor is strong enough to deflect the rifle's devastating rounds. The bolt sniper rifle can be loaded with specialized ammunition, including hyperfrag rounds, executioner rounds, and mortis bolts, each tailored for specific tactical scenarios. The Instigator bolt carbine, used by Vanguard captains and Eliminator sergeants, is a master-crafted, silenced version of the standard bolter, capable of lethal strikes at extreme ranges. The Psi Cannon is a specialized weapon used by the Imperium to combat demonic entities. Functioning similarly to a heavy bolter, the Psi Cannon fires psychically charged, silver-tipped bolts known as Psi bolts. These bolts are devastating to psychic creatures such as demons, psychers, and demon hosts, and can pierce both their material and spiritual defenses. The Forge Bolter is a shoulder-mounted heavy bolter variant used by Primaris Tech Marines, designed to provide devastating firepower while maintaining mobility. The Executor bolt rifle is another variant of the Mark II call pattern bolt rifle, used primarily by heavy intercessors. This weapon features enhanced armor penetration and increased damage, making it ideal for eliminating heavily armored targets. It is distinguished by its box-shaped magazine, which exposes the bolt ammunition. The heavy bolt rifle is similarly designed for heavy intercessors, with an extended barrel to increase its effective range. The Hellstorm bolt rifle, also used by heavy intercessors, trades range for a higher rate of fire, utilizing a drum-shaped magazine for sustained firepower. The Vratine bolter is an ornate and ancient bolt gun, originally designed for human use. It was once the preferred weapon of the Sisters of Silence, whose duty was to hunt down psychers and other threats to the Imperium. A variant known as the Nemesis bolter was developed with a longer range, making it an effective sniper weapon for the Sisters of Silence during their missions. The variety of bolt weapons available to the Adeptus Astartes, from the colossal Vulcan megabolter to the specialized Psi Cannon and precision bolt sniper rifles, reflects the Imperium's relentless drive to adapt and perfect the tools of war. These weapons not only symbolize the Emperor's wrath, but also embody the pinnacle of technological craftsmanship, each designed for a specific role on the battlefield and capable of unleashing devastation upon the Imperium's many enemies.